Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here, Black Flag Racing TV, and we are back after our little break for Chocolate Egg Weekend. It's the GT Champions World Cup, and we return for round 3. This is Division 3, and we are in the awesome Renault Megane GT4, live from the Red Bull Ring, and nice and clear. It's not going to rain this evening. I have good authority. It's not going to rain. Which is sometimes the thing that makes the Red Bull Ring great fun. But we're glad to be back. There's been a few movements across groups, so we'll go through that in a little while. But it's awesome to be back involved again. A week off. Just last weekend, it was just so surreal with nothing to do. So really, really pleased to be back and running again. We're of course, excuse me, brought to you by High Pre, and throughout the evening you'll see lots of references to them. There we go. Graphic designers, sim racing, profile branding, screen overlays, graphics, etc., etc. Check them out. Everything they do is absolutely awesome. So, as I said, I'm Urban Pirate. This is Black Flag Racing TV and GT Champions, which is sponsored by Metropolis and brought to you by Detailing Group, presented by RWB and powered by boom, High Pre at the touch of a button, of course. Excuse me. I'm still shaking off this cough. It's heading on its way out, but I'm still occasionally afflicted by this thing. So, without further ado, shall we have a look at how we look in terms of grid, etc.? That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? This is our grid for this evening. You'll notice there's a couple of movements. Out of Division 3, we've lost a couple of drivers from Division 3. No, I apologise, we've gained a couple of drivers in Division 3. Well, we've lost some. So Newton and Turbo have moved from Division 3 to Division 2. Makes sense, super quick. Buckwild and Max Capacity have come from Division 3 into Division 2. It's sorry. Buckwild and Max Capacity from Division 2 into Division 3, and from Division 3 up to Division 2 was Turbo and Newton. But we'll go over that when we get to Division 2, of course. So that's where we are at. This is our grid for this evening. It is Darren on pole. Well, he's joined that front row by Tubes, Quick Kick and Clint Freeman on row 2. Speed Freak and Toolshed, they are on row 3. ATK 037 and HPR 82. They're on row 4. Race Tech and Venom on row 5. Venom, of course, is our glorious host this evening. LJV15 and Buckwild on row 6. And Budsy and Carbon Boy finish up row 7. If you didn't know already, we're at the Red Bull Ring in the Megane GR4. 2 sets of tyres available. 1 set of racing soft, 1 set of racing mediums. Fuel is at times 1. Fuel is at times 1. They may only pit within the designated pit window, which is 10 minutes before the halfway mark and 10 minutes after the halfway mark. Outside that, only for damage. Front wheel drive car, it's going to be very, very, very intensive on the front wheels this entire race. So it's going to be a case of managing that wear throughout the race, particularly towards the tail end of each stint. Points as usual, P1 gets 18 points, P15 gets 1, etc, etc, etc. Nothing more really to see there. Obviously no qualifying because we've got our grid set. Shall we have a look how we finished up last time out? So that's how we finished at Barcelona. Turbo and Newton taking 1 and 2. They've now moved up to Division 2 because of their sheer pace out in front. HBR, Budley, they were 3rd and 4th. 037 Venom, 5th and 6th. Speed Freak and LJ V15, 7th and 8th, etc, etc. That's your top 3 podium. T64 Turbo from Newton, from HPR. Obviously Turbo and Newton moving up, taking half their points with them into Division 2. That's how it left the standings at the end of round 2. Slightly different in this division now, in the fact that we've had some drivers come down. So drivers that have come down bring all their points with them, and drivers that go up take half their points with them. So I think that leaves HPR at the top of the table at the moment. We've had a couple of drivers join us, of course, so things are going to be a little bit different. We'll be more updated towards the end of round 3 once all the results come out, etc, etc. So we're just waiting for everything to get cracking, but I'm so glad we're finally back underway. I think we're still waiting for a few people actually, because the lobby right, so we're doing right, do need to point out, so Renegade, very prominent member of ISA. He lost his father this week, so there will be a parade lap for in honour of that. So we will we'll get the display up and we'll do that parade lap, which will commence before the race begins, of course. And I just need to swap my keyboards over because I've got obviously we've got our keyboard controls back, so it's all about swapping those over and getting the right one ready. Yeah, there will be a parade lap following tubes all the way around, and then everyone back into the pits before they're ready up for the race. Not quite ready yet, so let's jump back out because they're not quite ready. I think we're waiting. That's what we're waiting on. The parade lap to start. Surprisingly, we've only got 12 of the expected 15 or so. Really, really surprised about that. So here is the parade lap. I think it's coming up now, so we can find the right button. There we go. So I'm just going to turn on my Do Not Disturb because I get a lot of messages throughout the Beautiful tribute. Rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace. Anyway, on to the racing. Just waiting now for everything to get cracking. Yeah, that was I know Renegade from from obviously GT7 and my connections with him. Never met his father, but from what I know of Renegade, he's a great man, and I'm sure that his father was too. Very fitting tribute for him on that parade lap. And yeah, very somber. I was, it's something that touches all of our lives. So it's however expected it is, it's always hard. But what a better tribute than to bring some great racing. So we're here at Red Bull Ring. We are in the very, very cool Renault Megane GT4 front-wheel drive car, but it's a brilliant little race car. Whether you're a fan of front-wheel drive cars or not, this car is always fun to drive. And round a track like the Red Bull Ring, it's almost kind of the perfect track for this car, because it gives you it's a good balance between performance and agility. And this is the sort of track where, with so few corners, that it's so key to get your exit speed right and to have that kind of manoeuvrability through the corners. You've got to be very careful into turn one, obviously, very, very careful into turn one. It's absolute key that when you come up to turn one for the first time, you just take it a little bit easy. Now, there is this tendency, and even when you're doing a 2 hour, and this is a 2 hour race, you're on the racetrack for 2 hours, there does seem to be this kind of tendency I've seen in a lot of these big endurance races and long endurance races, where people fly into turn one and seem to forget that there are 70 more laps to go. And I think we're looking somewhere around the 80 lap mark today. So my advice, if any of the drivers are listening, and I don't know if they are, but any of the drivers are listening, just pay attention into turn one. Just take it easy. Just consider that there are a lot of people, well, in fact, on this racetrack there are 12, 13 people, all heading into the same turn at the same time, roughly within a few seconds of each other. So if it's worth not risking damaging your car, because heavy damage is on. You can essentially ruin your entire race by trying to gain a position into turn one, lap one. You're much better off just taking it easy into the first time, maybe lose a position or two early on, and making sure that your car is not damaged, and obviously you don't pick up a penalty or damage anybody else's car. So just take it easy. In terms of lap times, expecting the steady race pace to be somewhere around the low 37s, low to mid 37s. I think is going to be your front runner pace, with your 36 thrown in there for overtaking purposes possibly. But we are going to be ready to go. I hope we start soon, because we've got Division 2 coming up straight after this, and I need time to wee in between. Would be quite useful, but it looks like we are just about ready to go. Everyone's saying ready. The grid, I think, has already been set by our glorious host Venom, and I'll tell you what, it's great to be back. Missed it last week, absolutely missed it last week for Chocolate Egg Day. Any predictions? I know from my perspective, I think it's interesting that we've lost. I say we've lost. We haven't lost them. They've moved up into. I think it's interesting that we've lost. Yeah, so we haven't lost them. We've seen a couple of drivers busting it up into Division 2. So that's an interesting thing to see. So actually, the pace here is going to be. I think we're looking at people like HPR that are going to be stepping up and showing their race pace from the outset. And we are ready to go. Jumping in, switching out to the correct view, and I think we can. Let's get me. Oh, there we go. That's better. I want to turn those off. Right, here we go. That's 4 lights. That's 5 lights. The last light will go out, and we will be away. And we'll look down the order. We'll make sure into turn 1 that everything's all pretty darn good. We're heading down towards turn 1 in these beautiful Renault Megans. Are we through safely? It's looking pretty good so far. Everyone pretty much, a little bit of a wobble there, but pretty much everyone behaving into turn 1. And that's a good start. Maybe they listened, maybe they didn't. Maybe they heeded me, maybe they didn't. But we got through nice and safely. And this is how it looks. Speed Freak 99 is in the lead at the moment. He's got Tubes just behind him, making a move, his Tubes, early on. We'll have a look at, well, we won't have a look, I will have a look at strategies soon. So Speed Freak into turn 1 and 2 safely. He is in the lead of this race. Leads Tubes. Tubes running in second in the beautiful tribute livery. A Quick Kick running in third position from the United States. He's just ahead of HBR. I expect HBR to be challenging there or thereabouts for podium place today. There he is, also running that tribute livery. ATK, he's from Canada. He's running in 5th position, just ahead of Clint Freeman from the United States of America. And that's a beautiful little elf throwback to this Renault Megane. And that was... I thought it was Buckwell, but it's not. Carbon, it was Buckwell because he moves down the order. Carbon Boy up into 7th, Budsy into 8th, LJ up into 9th, Venom into 10th, Race Tech up into 11th. Buckwell had a little bit of a wobble, shall we say, in the very basic livery there. He's not got anything on his car. Let It Rip has joined the room incredibly late. It might be added, but I don't think he's due here anyway, is he? So there we go, that's lap 1 completed, and Tubes leads the way from Speed Freak. He is 1 second clear, and already looking to try and pull a little gap over Speed Freak. In terms of strategy, there are only 2 strategies you can use. You can start on the soft compound tyres and run to the pit window, then change out for the mediums, or vice versa. There is no other option. How you want to do that really is down to you. And I think it depends where you start. I think if you're starting in the top 3, you might be better off on those soft compound, particularly if you feel that you can pull a nice big gap, is to start on the soft compound tyre and pull away. Whereas if you're at the back, you might be better off on the mediums and just sticking with a steady pace. But it's difficult to tell until you've run some laps as to what suits you best. I find that most people tend to go with the medium first, so they're quicker towards the end of the race. But you know, if you can pull a big gap on the soft tyres early on, what's to say that's not necessarily a bad strategy? So Tubes leads the way. We've got Speed Freak running in second. HPR has made his way up into that top three. We've got two of those ISO drivers in that top three now. Quick Kick just outside the top three in fourth place. It's half a second back. It's all very tight, that top four. You can see there, that's the top four between the top five. So top five starting to open up a bit of a gap from ATK 037. There he is. Carbon Boy is the next target back. So 1.2 seconds between ATK from Canada and Carbon Boy from Australia. He is trying to tack on to the back of that front five. You can see there in the distance, Tube starting to just pull away from the rest of the pack. Budsy currently going best of the rest. He's under a bit of pressure. There's a three-way battle going on. Can LJ make it out the inside? He doesn't. In fact, he drops back a little bit. He's under a bit of pressure himself now from Racetech. You can see here Racetech getting a bit of a run on LJ, although LJ managing to hold him off down to what is essentially turn 3. Every other turn up to this point, you've got turn 1, obviously, turn 2 at the top of the hill. That turn that's halfway up the hill is not really a turn, it's a kink. And I think you'd be hard pressed to call it a turn of any note. I think there should be a rule for racetracks, is you're only allowed to call it a turn if you actually have to slow down to go around it. If you can do it flat out, very, very wide there actually from, that was Budsy, I think, a little bit wide there, but managing to stay ahead. But yeah, if you don't have to slow down for it, it's not a turn. If you can do it flat out, then it doesn't count. Heading down, now he's getting a really good run on him now, is LJ. Can he make the move? So Racetech tucked in nicely behind. Bit of slipstream out of here can really make the difference. Heading up to turn 1. You've got to be brave on the brakes, of course, but if you get a good run out of that final turn, who knows what can happen into turn 1 and through the go. At the moment, everyone seems pretty cagey. No one's looking to make any big moves at the moment. It's all very, it's already turning into a bit of a procession, to be fair. Apart from HPR is making moves through the pack. There's Tubes up in the lead. HPR has got around Speed Freak, and now we knew that HPR was going to make his way into that top 3 at some stage. How long does he hold on? What strategy is he going to run? That's the important thing. But currently running, he's 1.1 seconds clear of Speed Freak. Not closing at the moment on Tubes, but we'll see at the end of this lap if he does start to close that time in. Carbon Boy back in 6th. There he is, currently with the fastest lap. That's a low 1:37. That's what we expect the consistent race pace to be. And he's from Sector 1 Sim Racing, of course. Somewhere between the sort of 37.0 and 37.5, I think will be the kind of pace we'll see out front. Whether you can do that consistently for the entire race, particularly if you're on the medium tyres, is something else to consider. But I think if you can do low 37s, high 36s in this division, then I think that's it's going to set you in good stead for there or thereabouts. We'll drop down the order. Let's have a look. So Buckwild, after that little wobble early on, and he's got absolutely no livery on that car, strangely. 6.5 seconds back from Venom, who is, there's a sort of bit of a train there, a bit of a slipstream train from Venom. Clint Freeman in 10th, there he is. Racetech running in 9th position. He's 1.4 seconds ahead. And it's this gaggle of Australian drivers. Budsy, LJ, and Racetech, 7th, 8th, and 9th is Racetech. There's Budsy running in 7th. And Carbon Boy ahead with that fastest lap, the lap before, which has just been absolutely busted by LJ. LJ with a 1:36.8 to a really start putting some pressure on in that midfield. Budsy's obviously his first target. But you've got 4 Australian drivers now, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place in that midfield. Top 3, There's Speed Freak. Still not pulling away. He's still got a bit of a... He's got a gap out front. You can see there, Tubes and HPR just starting to pull away. Quick Kick is sticking with Speed Freak. Speed Freak would desperately love to be pulling away the same way that Tubes and HPR are. But Quick Kick, ATK, Carbon Boy, all sticking with that battle at the moment. And it really is anyone's business in that top three. No one getting the opportunity really to make any big moves in that kind of chasing pack right now. Obviously all to play for up front at the moment. Tube's doing a really, really good job. Fitting tribute, of course, with that tribute livery on that Renault Megane out in the lead. And this racetrack actually it's a brilliant, brilliant racetrack, this, because over the years it has significantly changed, and it used to be absolutely massive. Now it's in the scheme of things, it's a relatively short track, lots of straights. As we're watching there, Quick Kick, was he trying to make a move on his teammate? He certainly was close enough to have a go. But what actually, shall we do an on-board? We haven't done an on-board yet, so what we'll do, we'll do an on-board, and I'll talk you through the track, and then I'll give you a little talk about what the track used to look like, maybe. We've got 2 hours to kill, you know, we've got plenty of time, and this is one of those racetracks where overtakes aren't generally thick and fast at the Red Bull Ring. It's a very I hesitate to use the word stagnant. I think stagnant is the sort of word you would use to describe the Monaco Grand Prix, for instance. That's essentially a time trial with some crashes. But this racetrack tends to be that it's mistakes that dictate rather than outright pace. Although we can see there, there's a move going on there. Can that move be made, and can it stick? That's the big question. Can he make it stick? It's up the inside. He's got a little bit of a run on him, but he can't hold on, and he has to tuck in behind Quick Kick again. He did look like he got a good run there, ATK, but couldn't make it work. And Buckwild disconnects from the room very early on. He was having a terrible race as it was, and he is gone, disappeared. Buckwild is no more. And I'm going to say it. I'm incredibly... Oh, and there's ATK pushing a little bit too hard from Attack Motorsports, 037 from Attack Motorsports. I don't know what I'm making a game. He's from Attack Motorsports. His name is 037. And he just pushing a little bit harder, just got himself a little bit squirrely off the racetrack, and Carbon Boy moves through up into 5th position. Yeah, I'm incredibly disappointed. You know, we've got a number of people have entered the GT Champions, and you know, there's people that couldn't get in. There's people that were put down in Division 6, Division 5, and even Division 4 that probably would have liked to be racing higher up, right? And then we've got a Division 3 here, and we've got new people. We've got people taken out of it, people brought into it to even out the numbers, and we've got 11 drivers. Now there's spaces. There are drivers down in Division 4 that would love to have their races broadcast, and they can't because of the lack of broadcasters. And then we've got spaces coming up in Division 3 where people aren't racing every week. Now, for me, but there is a schedule. You know there's a schedule, and you know, I don't know. It's not my place to tell people what they can and can't do. You know, we are doing this for a hobby at the end of the day, but you would expect if you enter a 10-week competition, you're available for 9 of them or 8 of them, and you're not leaving empty lobbies. But you know, it is what it is, I suppose. Tubes, there he is. I don't know why I call him Tubes because there's no S on the end of his name. He's from New Zealand, and he's showing all the rest of those, all those Aussies from across the water from him, what it's all about at the moment. He's 1.7 seconds clear, and next lap round will do the on-board with him. HPR has not been able to, after making his way through the field of Buckwild, is back, but not a lot he can really do now. Yeah, but maybe that's something that PD can look at, because there's a number of other racing titles where if you get disconnected, your car continues in your absence on a kind of auto drive, and you can get back in the car and continue the race. And maybe there's something they could look at programming in. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know how easy or difficult it is. I'm hardly the technical whiz, you can tell by the craziness in my broadcasting, that I'm not the family issues, so you had to go. Yeah. 1.4 seconds is the gap between Tubes and HPR. HPR got up from, he was 4th, then he was 3rd, now he's 2nd, but he's at the moment, he's watching the back of his teammate. And let's go on board. Let's do it from that view actually, this view actually. Then we can really get a good look at the car. So you see head up the hill here towards turn 1. You're keeping the car to this left hand side. You're looking for that 100-metre board, which is where you get on the brakes. You want to get nice and early on the apex. Use all that road as you turn in. You can actually go quite far over that white line without picking up a penalty. You can go for pretty much both wheels right up to it. Good evening, Jay. How are you doing? You looking forward to your race, mate? Hope so. And then, so yeah, here we go. This is turn 2. Ignore that previous turn. It's not a turn. It's a flick of the steering wheel. Big braking zone for turn 2, of course. Heading up the hill and then back down again as you come through turn 2. It flicks round to this left-hand side, and you want to stick to those rumble strips on your left. Again, 50-metre board this time. Get it turned in. Again, you use all of the apex nice and tight, and then you can really power out using the green on the outside there as you start to power down towards this really tricky kart section. On the brakes down into 3rd gear. But again, you power out, and again, using all that road, you can really get some speed through here. Little lift, drop of a gear to get that turn, and then you're flat out from this point. You're powering through this turn, you're powering down past this penalty line. It's not very close, to be fair. There are worse in this game, but it's still pretty bad. And then you've got this braking zone here. Now you brake differently depending on whether you're going into the pits or staying wide. This is where people get caught out with the penalties. Don't cut there, but get on that power quickly. Head up towards the start-finish line, and there we go. That is a lap around the Red Bull Ring. Now, a long time ago, that straight ahead there, as you can just see, that's where the track used to go. And it used to go all the way back around these trees, through the village, the local village, and right through, almost like Nordschleife, like through a forest. And it used to come back out at the top of the hill here, and you'll see the remnants of that track just there on the, you can see it there on the right-hand side, left-hand side, sorry. And that's where the track used to come back round and join here. And it was a massive, massive road track for many, many years. In fact, more of its life than it's been in this connotation. It looked like that. And then over the years, obviously, the track got smaller and more appropriate to circuit racing. And it became the track it is today. And obviously, it was purchased by Red Bull and became the Red Bull Ring. And, you know, it's the track we know and love today. But it's an interesting track because in terms of the amount of corners, it's one of the shortest GT and particularly F1 tracks ever used, because it's only got 7 corners essentially. If you ignore those little kinks, you've essentially got 7 corners on this racetrack. So not many braking zones and not many overtaking opportunities. So there's HBR, he's running in 2nd place. Tubes managing that pace very well out in front at the moment, and does have the fastest lap of the race with a 1:36.7 to his name, and that was luckily enough that was the last lap we were on actually. So HPR, or the onboard lap, should we say. HPR running in 2nd. He's still sticking within that 2-second gap, but now the gap back to those behind really opened up. Carbon Boy up into 3rd. There's clearly a little bit of an issue gone on for 1 or 2 drivers there while we were doing that on board. So Carbon Boy running now in 3rd place. 7.4 seconds the gap now to those front 2. 0.37. He's tucked right in behind, almost with Speed Freak, almost in the boot of that car. You could put a piece of paper between those two, and you probably wouldn't be able to separate them in the way they're going. Really, really close racing. There is Speed Freak, really putting that pressure on. Behind him, Budsy from Australia, 1.3 seconds, that gap back. And he's got a little bit of gap either side, because it's 1.7 back to Quick Kick of the United States. 1.82 Race Tech running in 8th. And then Venom up to 8th position. And nice little position for him to be in, because he's now ahead of Race Tech after making that move. How long can he hold that off though? Because it looks like Racetech and LJ are both trying to come at him, and it's so close between these guys at the moment. There is Racetech, and we can see just how close he is to the back there, and we've got LJ just behind him. If we move one back, you can see, look at this three-way battle heading down towards the penultimate turn, and they're side by side. Inside line for Racetech, outside for LJ. Who's brave? And we see LJ going a little bit wide. They're trying to hold the outside line. He's clearly got a little bit more pace and trying to avoid not going into the back of the Racetech. But what a run he got out of the final turn. Doesn't even need the slipstream. Runs straight past him, and now trying to get tucked in behind Venom. Doesn't want to let Venom pull away. Venom did capitalise on that little battle between those two to get himself a little bit of breathing room. But how long will that last? Not long by the looks of things. There is a four-way battle going on there. At the head of the tree is Venom. Then we've got LJ. Then we've got Racetech. He's now under a bit of pressure there at the back from Clint Freeman. So no one getting really a little nudge into the back of Racetech, and he did the right thing. He backed off. Probably didn't need to back off quite as much. Any damage? No damage to either car. So Clint Freeman loses a bit of time there. He was just so quick going through. It looks like Racetech was losing quite a bit of time in those last few corners because he's dropping down the order back towards Clint Freeman. Then Clint Freeman gave him a little club. Completely unintentional racing incident, of course, but has lost himself a bit of time now. Racetech sticking with LJ. These cars are so nimble and it's so easy to follow another car in these Meganes as well. You don't have that worry of that dirty air is not quite such a big impact. I feel like I'm losing my voice again. Race leader still tubes. That gap though not quite as comfortable. It's down to 1.4 seconds from HBR. Could just get some more on because my phone's home. Yeah, 1.2 seconds to HBR. So HBR looks like he's ramping up the pace a little bit. He still has the fastest lap tube. It's a 1:36.7, which I think I think that's a good representative pace. And I imagine that's the sort of lap time we're going to see. It's going to be in and around that for the fastest lap of this race. There is HBR, and HBR burst onto the scene during the Porsche Cup and demonstrated some absolutely phenomenal pace, picking up some really good wins along the way, and got himself promoted into, I think it was Division 3 to Division 2 at some stage during that competition. So really good pace from HBR, and a very, very capable racing driver. Best of the rest at the moment is Carbon Boy from Sector 1 Sim Racing, and he's 7.9 back from those front two. Those front two really pulling themselves away in their own little battle. And but Carbon Boy, he's holding ATK 037 just outside of that slipstream range, and that's really important because he doesn't want to give him any run on him. And you've got 3 sections of this racetrack where cars really can, or 4 sections really, where cars really can get a good run on you in your toe. So the last thing he wants is the car behind to get that toe. So here we are, lap 13. We are 20 minutes into this 2-hour race. 14 laps gone thus far. We're looking at something like 80 odd laps. Late 70s, early 80s in terms of laps. I haven't run enough laps around here to tell you what they are. Only because I don't particularly. I find this racetrack to be a bit mind-numbing for a long period of time if you're not racing. So just to do it for testing purposes, no thank you. But Carbon Boy putting in, that's the fastest sector thus far, fastest sector 1 thus far. Is he starting to ramp up the pace and close on HPR? There is 0.37. He's pulled a gap now from Speed Freak. He made a little niche for himself there in 4th position. And at the moment, under no pressure, trying to stick with Carbon Boy and challenge for a place in that top 3. It's 74 to 77. I'm reliably informed. Thank you very much, Jason. And if you want to check out Division 4, obviously after watching the broadcast Division 2 straight after this, then do check out Jason's YouTube at the bottom of the Black Flag TV recommended channels. At the bottom there you'll see a whole Old Man Jay's down there, and you can check out his onboard live from Division 4. He's currently leading Division 4 after all the promotions as well, so good luck to him. Speed Freak, he's got Budsy just ahead of him. He's Budsy 1.9 behind ATK 037, and Speed Freak is in behind Budsy there. Where we had that gaggle of Australian drivers all sort of bunched up together. They've been split up now, and to be fair, you need to keep these Australians apart, otherwise they start drinking and barbecuing things. So you need to keep them apart, otherwise there's a party. Don't say Division 4, Division 5. I apologise, Jay. Division 5. Should be in Division 4. There we go. It's wishful thinking, mate. Wishful thinking. 1 second back to Quick Kick. Another second back to LJ. Version 15. Then rounding out the top 9 is Venom. 3.4 seconds back. And he's got a lovely little part of the racetrack just for him. Gap ahead, 3.4 seconds. The gap behind, 8.4 seconds. Sorry. Frog in my throat. 8.4, as I said, back to Race Tech, Australian driver. He has also got himself a little niche on the racetrack. Those back 3 now, kind of running a little bit lonely. And on their own, Clint Freeman, 9.7 seconds back. Looks like he had quite a bad lap. He did on lap 12, 154. Things didn't go too well for him on that particular lap. Excuse me, Race Tech with a 145 last lap. That didn't go too well for him either. Venom's been relatively consistent back there though, in the low 37s to low 38s. And you know, the thing is, consistency is going to be key, because if anyone out in front makes a mistake, that consistency will set you in good stead. HBR's really closed that gap now on Tube, who's been out in the lead and really dominating this race until this point. But you can see those two ISA drivers. I think actually HBR is kind of OGR. Or is he OGR? I think he's ISA. And so Tube and HBR both running in 1 and 2. Good for the ISA racing team, of course. But HBR at the moment would like the bragging rights over his teammate, and he has closed that gap to half a second, just half a second, giving him plenty of impetus now, plenty of slipstream as well, which is really important. There is Carbon Boy. We missed his overtake, but it looked like he it wasn't a super clean overtake from what people are telling me. But it's not my position to make a judgment unless I can actually see it. We were doing a very interesting excuse me, run around the track with Tube at the time. 0.37. He's not making any huge inroads into Carbon Boy. Still 1.3 behind. He's still got Budsy for company though. Budsy really looking to put some moves on him. Carbon Boy not closing that 8.9 to HBR and Tube. Have 0.37 and Budsy got the kind of pace to close on those front two? Because as it stands, I've just seen your prediction, buddy. You said Tubes and Race Tech P1 and P2, Budsy P3. Well, as it stands, I mean, Budsy's not a bad shout for P3, sitting there in 5th at the moment. Not a bad shout at all. And he's putting in some good purple sector times. Tubes, yeah, I mean, you're right. Tubes at the moment is out in the lead, but he is under some pressure from HBR. As for Race Tech back in 9th, struggling with consistency, and in those mid 38s to mid 39s, some way off the pace for the front 3, I would suggest, Benjo. But good to see you, my friend. Of course, no, he isn't. You're right, Benjo, he isn't. It threw me. I realised it was open to everybody, but it just threw me a little bit. Looks good in your colours, though, didn't he, mate? And he's your time zone. It is a very, very cool livery, as most soldiers that come out from Iceland. A very fitting tribute, I must say. Did something happen to the D1 stream? I've just seen a message up there on the chat that something happened to the Division 1 stream. I hope it's back up and running and everything's okay with Tatiana. So there's your race leader. It was incredibly comfortable for him for a while. He was 2 seconds clear, running very, very well up in the lead. But HBR has just started to ramp up the pace now. And you can see that HBR, we talk about consistency. Just look at those lap times over on that right hand side. There's not more since from lap 9 to lap 17. There's been nothing more than 0.3 difference in his lap times, and that is an incredible, absolutely incredible kind of grouping of laps. And it really does put pressure on all the drivers around you not to make mistakes. And when you can do that, that's how you can gain extra positions. Because you know, if you can consistently do that without making errors, lap after lap after lap, that those people around you, they have to do that too. And you kind of put the onus on them to not make a mistake. So it becomes less about you and more about them worrying about what you're doing. And HBR are very, very good at putting in consistent laps. Now, I can tell you for a fact that HBR can probably go a second, maybe more, faster. But what he's doing here is he's playing the long game. We know how quickly the front tyres here are going to go off. And at the end of both stints, whether you're on the softs or the mediums at either stage, your tyres are going to be a little bit road, particularly the softs. The softs certainly more than the mediums are going to be in a little bit of a state. You're going to have plenty of grip at the back. You can have grip for your life. In fact, you could swap the tyres over and last the race if you were allowed to do that. But you've just got to be careful. You've just got to look after them and not put too much pressure through them. That's absolute key. Carbon Boy running in third place. He's got himself up into third. He's stayed in third, but he's not been able to make any inroads into those front two. Those front two absolutely dominating this race today. Carbon Boy in third place, 0.37. Yeah, no, they are absolutely playing it safe, Benjo. You're absolutely right. Caleb, yes, I am doing D2, mate, to answer your question. I'm absolutely doing D2. Yeah, so I think the perspective of those front two, you're right, they are playing it safe. Because there is, you can see Tube's done a 36.7. And he was, I mean, luckily that was the on-board lap he did with him. Yeah, I'm doing D2 afterwards. Yeah, so they are playing it safe, and they know they can, because at the moment the guy in third, Carbon Boy, 10 seconds back. They don't need to push. Now, at any time, of course, HBR could decide to turn it on and make the move, should he choose to. But I think from their perspective, they don't need to do that just now. They're running 1 and 2. They can have their race. You know, we're 30 minutes in. There's still 90 minutes of racing to go. They can have their race for first and second later. Their priority now is going to be to build a nice, comfortable gap to that chasing pack. Although arguably you can't really call them a chasing pack when the gap's getting bigger. And they've both got more to offer. Right, I'm going to point this out now, right? So I've been given a microphone for my birthday, right? And I asked to get it before I did this broadcast because the microphone I'm using is shit. I'm 30 minutes into the broadcast and I've just been handed the microphone. And obviously, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been done just to mess with me. So I will have the new microphone up and running for Division 2. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look at the back of the pack. There's Venom running at the back. He's had that was an awful lap 16. I don't know what happened to him, but he lost 40 seconds, more than 50 seconds on that lap. So something went horribly wrong. Did he have to repair? It looks to me like he did, because the lap before, The lap before he did a 1:58, so it looks to me like he crashed, so he had to repair on lap 16. That's put him 47 seconds back. I suppose you're right. I will have a look at the telemetry in a minute, Bedro, actually. I suppose that is true. It is better late than never, of course, but it's really annoying because I'm looking at it and I can't use it. Well, I suppose I could try and hook it up during the broadcast, but that would just be odd. There is Clint Freeman. He's running in 10th, 46 seconds ahead of Venom after Venom had to go and clearly go do some sort of repair work. They've swapped play. How have they? Well spotted. So they have swapped. So HBR has made that move now around Tube. Thanks for pointing out. It's probably my job that I should be doing that. To be fair, it was coming because the gap was 2 seconds. We saw HBR just starting to ramp it up, and we know just how quick HBR can be. Are you watching from Tube's perspective? Because that's quite useful. So Tube, he had a penalty to it. Well, there's another penalty there. So it goes back to what I'm saying. I was saying about the consistency HBR's been putting on the lap times. So it's been forcing, with the gap getting smaller, it's been forcing Tube to maybe push a little bit more than he would have liked to. And that's how you pick up penalties. So now we see HBR has been able to build a 1.5 second gap over Tube. And they're still keeping that gap to Carbon Boy as well, which is going to be key later on. I can tell you, I'm not going to tell you who's on what. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm looking at two screens at the same time. You're just looking at the one. Thanks for that, Joe. I'm going to run through everybody. I'm not going to tell you who's on what. I can tell you that everybody started on one particular tyre except for one driver. So when it comes to the second half of the race, after the pit window, which will open in about 16 minutes time, we're going to see that pit window open. Once we get to that point, my phone's about to talk to me. Turn it off very quickly. There we go. That's done. That's turned off. Once we get to that midpoint of the race and it switches round, somebody is going to be on a different tyre than everybody else again. So yeah, no, it's interesting that actually that strategy was picked, because I think with the guys further back. So there's Race Tech from Australia, 15 seconds pretty much either side, running between Clint Freeman and Speed Freak. Quick kick, there he is. We'll be in a minute. There he is, quick kick there, running in 7th position. It looked like I was having a technical issue there, but it looks to be alright now. Yeah, quick kick running in 7th position. He's 1.9 ahead of Speed Freak, 1.7 behind version 15 of LJ. I'd love to see how quick the other 14 versions were. That would be quite interesting. But at the moment the gap's really starting to show, so really the only battling has been going on out in front, and even that battle's now settled down a little bit. 4.2, that's the gap between Bugsy and LJ, but look at that little battle there. That's the battle for 3rd. That's Bugsy running in 5th position, and you can see just ahead of him 0.37, although Bugsy with a penalty that he's about to serve, and when he serves that penalty he'll drop off that battle a touch. Ahead is 0.37 from Attack Motorsports. Ahead of him, Sector 1 Racing's Carbon Boy. This is the battle for 3rd. This has been raging on. Pretty much these guys have sat in this same position for most of the race. Once the kind of race sort of settled into their positions, this is kind of where they settled to. So Carbon Boy was 0.37 from Bugsy, and you can just see Bugsy just dropping off that when he serves that half-second penalty. The good thing about the penalty line here is it's not all that brutal. It's nothing like when you serve a penalty at Spa or at Interlagos, one of those tracks where they put it in the most horrible of places to excessively punish you. But Bugsy already making up that half second, getting straight back on the back of that battle. Now actually Bugsy, I think, slightly better position than the other two because he can use that slipstream to allow him to lift and coast. So he can look after the fuel a little bit more. He can certainly look after his tyres a little bit more because he's not braking that side, although there he had to give a little bit more into the brakes because he very nearly continued travelling into the back of ATK, who's running there and advertising Angela Bailey on the back of his car, running in fourth. But Carbon Boy at the moment doing everything he needs to do to stay ahead. And those two Australians just creating a little bit of an ATK 037 sandwich. Wonder he's got some mayo on there just to make it a little bit easier to swallow. There is your race leader, HPR 82. He's now 1.2 seconds ahead of Tube. Tube still with that fastest lap, still with that 1:36.7. And you can see the pace actually of HPR just dropping off a touch. At 37.669, he's back down to the sort of low 37s again. That last lap at 37.669 is one of his slowest so far. But again, he's fallen within that kind of that range of that low 37s, low to mid 37s that he's been doing all race. And that's proving to be a very, very good for him. And you can see now he's closing in on the back of Venom, running there in currently in 11th place. He has to repair some damage to Venom, which has really kind of set him back. But obviously the good thing is that now he's repaired that damage, he can continue on. And look, it's a long, long race. You don't know what's going to happen over the course of essentially 70 laps, 75 plus laps. And we're still only on lap 24, so a good 50 laps still to go here at the Red Bull Ring. If you are just joining us, this is GT Champions World Cup season number 5. This is round 3. We're at the Red Bull Ring in the GT4 Renault Megane for 2 hours of flat out balls to the wall racing. And so far, it is pretty darn good. We didn't do any racing last week. It was chocolate egg weekend, but we moved on, and now we're back with a vengeance. HPR 82 leads the way, 1.8 seconds here in Division 3. Division 2 comes up straight after this. You can also catch all the action from Division 1. Hopefully the stream is sorted out and it's back up and running. Also on GT Champions YouTube channel, just there to the left of where you found this one. Unless of course you're watching on Black Flag Racing TV, then go and watch on GT Champions. It's the right thing to do. Excuse me. HPR leads the way from Tubes, the New Zealand driver. He is the lone New Zealand driver now because the other one, Kaizan, moved up to Division 2 last week, and he'll be racing alongside the other Black Flag driver in Monkey Man. I forgot his name. Monkey Macho Man. Kaizan representing Black Flag in Division 2 straight up after this. Pace wise, it's bang on where we thought it would be. I thought it would be mid to high 36s as the quickest lap. That's bang on where we are. And I can tell you now, if you're running soft compound tyres, you're starting to feel the pain a little bit. You will be starting to feel it. Pit window opens in 9 minutes time. So if you're counting in laps, about 6 laps time is when the pit window opens. Hello Marv, goodbye Marv. HPR leads from Tubes from New Zealand, 0.37 ahead of Carbon Boy now. Carbon Boy tucked in behind him, and this battle's still raging on. These three, well actually it's not these three anymore, because LJ's dropped back and Budsy is up there. Budsy's got himself involved in that top 5, and it looks like Budsy has decided to ramp up the pace. 37.0, his fastest lap thus far. He's now involved in that top 5. LJ's dropped off. It's almost as though they've tag teamed and swapped places. Look at this battle right now, currently raging on for 3rd place. 0.37 from Carbon Boy, from Budsy. These three running into turn 1 they go. Anyone brave enough to try and make a move? Carbon Boy round the outside up into 5th position. And I keep forgetting we've got this. Let's do this thing. So there we go. We can see the move coming here. Oh, around the outside. This is a great move. Round the outside. Just allows it to drift wide. And you can see just alongside there, it's bye-bye and through he goes into the lead of this race. I keep forgetting I've got my replays, man. Keep forgetting. Not that I've had to replay much thus far. So, Carbon Boy back into third place. Budsy capitalises on that move and makes his move up into fourth. 0.37 down into fifth position. Running in sixth, it's V15. He was originally in that top three, just dropping off that top three now, 1.5 seconds back. And you can see, if we go on board with V15, we can see the battle up ahead. That's the battle that he's watching. Now the thing is if he can sit in there and maybe even try and get involved in that battle, the more that Carbon Boy Budsy and 037 duke it out and try and defend from each other and are fighting and battling, the more that it gives LJ that opportunity to close up and get involved himself. And of course, if anything goes wrong and one of those or two of those cars ever coming together, or even three of the cars ever come together, LJ's there to swoop in and jump into the mantle there. But this is the battle raging on for the third podium position. The first two, that's being battled by HBR and Tube out in the lead of this race. Quick Kick back in seventh place, just 4.2 seconds back. He's not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. I can tell you now, looking at, I'm going to have a look through all the fuel consumption. I can tell you now, looking at the fuel consumption, that bearing in mind it's the same car, there's quite a vast difference between the drivers, and there's a few drivers in this midfield who aren't going to necessarily have to put as much fuel on board. Now that's key, because the longer you spend refueling, the more time you spend in the pits. The more time you spend in the pits, the quicker your opponents get out in front of you. And absolutely, when you've got a pit window and you've got that singular pit window, it's really key to make sure you're spending as little time in there as possible. You don't want to be in there for any huge length of time. There is Speed Freak. He's running 6.9 seconds behind Quick Kick. 15 seconds ahead of Race Tech. We are 4.5 minutes from the opening of the pit window, like it's some kind of majestic thing. Race Tech running in 9th place, 10 seconds back to Clint Freeman, and Venom has closed that gap down to 40 seconds. And now he's actually driving and doing the kind of pace that you're seeing the front drivers do. So this just goes to show how closely matched these guys are in this division, and how much of a difference it makes when you just one mistake can make such a huge difference, particularly on a track like the Red Bull Ring, can make such a difference to the overall performance. So Venom running in 11th position, and he's about to be lapped by some of these front runners. There is HPR. The gap is, so it was 2 seconds from Tube to HPR. It is now the other way around. HPR leads Tube by 2 seconds. Carbon Boy, that gap's actually got bigger. So while Carbon Boy and Budsy and 037 and LJ all been battling out there for third position, Carbon Boy hasn't been able to close that gap, and it's opened up to 12 seconds. And this close to the pit window, that's a really, really big gap that is going to need to be chased down at some stage. You know, when you're doing a 2-hour race, of course you don't want to be pushing too hard early on. You want to look after your tyres, you want to look after your fuel, you want to make sure your car can make it to the end. You want to make sure that you don't have to spend too much time pitting. But by the same token, you can't start letting that gap get too big. And at the moment, the two really battling for third at the moment are Budsy and Carbon Boy right now. 037's just dropped off that battle a touch. You can see there he's now 3.6 seconds back. So him and LJ battling out for fifth. Carbon Boy and Budsy still battling out for third. Pit window 2.5 minutes before it opens. Talking too much, my throat's hurting. Isn't that kind of the point though, right? HBR leads 2.5 seconds from Tube. Carboy in third, Budsy in fourth, 0.37. Now 3.8 seconds back. Penalty to serve. That will allow LJ, I think if he can stay within that distance there, he should be able to breeze past 0.37 when he serves that half-second penalty in just a couple of corners time through this little twisty kart section here at the Red Bull Ring. And it can be a really tricky section to get right, and you can lose a lot of time through here just getting your lines wrong. Use all the road. That's my biggest advice right now. Look, don't take advice from me. I'm really, really slow, but I'll talk a good game. I'll talk a good game. I just got to drive a good game. There we go. So there's the penalty served, and as we thought, there goes LJ past ATK 0.37, and he's up into 5th place. Simple enough overtake to make when the car next to you is going slowly. Making sure that neither of them pick up a penalty coming out of that last turn, that is key. Quick kick, starting to close a little bit. He's got a lovely little gap. He's pulling away from Speed Freak. 9.1 seconds is a gap from Speed Freak. 2.4 seconds the gap to LJ, and 0.37. Next lap is when the pit window opens. Now, if you're running the medium compound tyres, you're probably not going to be pitting quite straight away. You're probably going to hang on for a little while. Remember, it's open for 20 minutes. 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after. And that'll be in 20 seconds time. The pit window will open. There is your race leader. He's now opened up a gap to nearly 3 seconds over Tube. Could it be that Tube hasn't, his pace hasn't dropped. He's been, he's done a 36.7, but he's been very consistent between sort of 37.5, 37.9 over the last few laps, consistently there. But HPR has been consistently in the low 37s, and that has been the fundamental difference from when HPR took the lead of this race. He just decided to ramp it up a little bit, and it really has made that difference. And the pit window is now open. Completely, that's the wrong button. There we go, open. Pit window is now open, and it will be open for the next 20 minutes. Now, you'll find out who's on the softs, who's on the mediums, because if the soft tyre runners will be in relatively shortly. The medium tyre runners, of course, will hang on much, much longer. And as I told you, one driver is on one set of tyres, and everybody else is on a different set of tyres. Can you guess who? Probably not. But you'll soon find out. Yes, you will. Hello to everybody watching. If you are just joining us, we're coming up to the midway point. This is the GTC World Cup, brought to you by High Pre and Metropolis, and of course all the other juicy sponsors. There we go. This is the third race of the series. We're at the Red Bull Ring. We're in the Renault Megane GT4, back to GT3 cars next time out. It's quite interesting actually, because we've been in the Renault twice in a row. We're in that RS01 last time out, the week before Chocolate Egg Weekend, and this week we're in the little baby sister, the Renault Megane. And actually, I say I had this car. I didn't have this car. Clearly, I had just a Renault Megane, and it's what started my I was going to say my love affair with not liking French cars. I've had an absolute terrible car history with French cars. Every single French car I've owned has started brilliant and been an absolute nightmare. Kind of like dating that psycho. So think back to when you were younger and you met a girl and she was amazing and she was brilliant and she made you laugh, but there was something just a little bit off about her. That's my life with Renaults. Well, with French cars in general. mostly Renaults though, because I think I've had 3 Renaults and a couple of others, but the Renaults particularly a little bad. But anyway, I digress. For a time, it was great fun until it started going wrong, of course. Right, so there's your race leader. The gap is now 3.1 seconds. Pit window is open. Anyone can go in to do their tyres and fuel anytime they like. Who is going to jump first? That is the ultimate question. Let's do a full rundown, shall we? In the lead, HPR 82. He is 3.3 seconds ahead of your long-time leader, who's now dropping back. That is Tube from New Zealand. We just see him coming through there to complete lap 33 of what will be about 77-ish laps, there or thereabouts. Carbon Boy running in 3rd place. Not anymore, because Budsy makes that move as Carbon Boy goes very, very wide. You can see here, we'll watch this from this perspective, and he goes so wide there, and it just allows Budsy to barge on through up into the. I say barge in the best sense of it. He didn't actually barge him out of the way. Carbon Boy just got a little bit too brave into that final turn, and Budsy moves up into 3rd position. HPR from Tube, from Budsy onto Carbon Boy, now in 4th place. LJ, he is comfortably now in 5th, 1.2 behind Carbon Boy. You can see that battle up ahead. It does look quite reckless, but I'm actually not sure whether it's reckless or whether it's a bit laggy. I mean, when I look here, it does look a little bit laggy from that perspective through the corners. But yeah, I mean, you're right. To an extent, it is quite reckless. When you push that hard and you allow your car to drift that wide. Yeah, see, to be fair, I didn't see it personally. It may have been on the stream and I just missed it. It's not unusual for me to miss things that I'm staring right at. It's one of the things that I do on a regular basis. Who knows? LJ running in 5th place, 3.6 seconds ahead of 0.37 now. We are firmly within the pit window. Remember, this is the only opportunity you have to change out your tyres and fuel. Excuse me. You do have 2 compounds to use, so you must pit. You must change the tyres. You've got to run softs. You've got to run mediums. When you choose to do it is entirely down to you. Whether you choose to come in at the beginning or right at the end. And Renegade, thoughts are with you, brother. Thoughts are with you. Your boys are doing well though. Tube up there in 2nd. Beautiful tribute to your late father. All splat across the field, to be fair. We'll let's go and have a look. While we've got Renegade with us, there's your livery sporting in 1st place in the hands of HPR. He is currently 3.5 second clear of your guy. There's your guy right there, Tube. He's been very dominant today, actually. Very, very dominant. He led the race for some time out in the front. Yeah, absolutely. I echo everything just said by Justin. Yeah, echo everything Justin said. Tube's there running there, 3.8 seconds behind HPR. Pit window open. He's going to be thinking about going in relatively shortly. Budsy up into 3rd when Carbon Boy made a little error, and at the moment Carbon Boy trying to find a way back through. No, he absolutely is, Karzan, absolutely dominating. So as you're going to do in Division 2, straight after this, my friend, repping in Division 2 now. Yeah, he did bide his time very well, actually, Karzan. He kind of HPR sat in there behind Tube. He let Tube kind of dictate the pace for some time, and you see Tube still got the fastest lap. But I mean, you can see the consistency there on that right-hand side, and nothing's really changed. In all fairness, that's been the consistency he's been chucking in since the beginning of this race. It's made a massive, massive difference across the board, and that's why now he's 4.6 seconds clear. And you can see now that Tube's pace really starting to drop off. He was over half a second lap slower on that last lap than he has been previously, and he's losing significant time now to HBR. So HBR really starting to open up a lovely, juicy little gap here while we're in the pit window. And what a time to be doing it, because if you can open up a gap when you're into the pit window, then it certainly improves your lot further on. Now the thing is, how well's your fuel saving been to this stage? Because you make it to the 1 hour mark and you've got half a tank of fuel or more. You don't have to fuel in the pits, and that is mega, absolutely mega, because you can continue to drive the way you did in stint number 1, but you're going to not have had to stop in the pits for any length of time. Now if I look through, as Tube the first to blink, the first to pit, the first to change out his tyres, everybody else stays out. So you'll see, oh actually no, not the only one, because LJ diving into the pits as well, almost bang on that 1 hour mark. And you can see there the Tube was running the soft compound tyre, LJ running the mediums, and I suppose there's no harm in telling you now that Tube was the only driver in that first stint running the soft compound tyre. Now he is going to be surrounded by cars all on the softs, but what I can tell you is this, that I think LJ has come in a little bit early if he's going to run the softs to the end, because I'm going to tell you now, the state of the tyres for where's he gone? The state of the tyres for Tube when he came in were gone. There was no front tyre, certainly front left tyre. There was no front left tyre left when he came in, and that was at 58 minutes. Anyone that's changing to the soft tyres now is going to have a bit of brown town on the last few laps with the state of the tyres, particularly if they're racing for track position. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, the ideal strategy here, of course, if you're running on the medium tyres, you can run it right to the end of this pit window, and then that gives you the optimum running time on the softs. You do need to be a little bit careful, make sure you're not taking too much out of them, but you can quite comfortably run to the end on the softs from there. So HPR, there he is. He's 16 and a half, or 16.9, 17 seconds in fact, clear of the Australian driver Budsy, who's got the better of Carbon Boy and just giving himself a little bit of breathing room. Not quite enough for him to relax, but enough for him to say, okay, I don't have to aggressively defend against this guy. Excuse me, hang on. Liquid. And there it is. So he's running it there in second. Carbon Boy still in third place from sector 1. 0.37 dropped right back now. That battle for third place kind of lost him at the moment. Bear in mind that he, of course, still needs to pit. He's got Tube back in 7th. There is a quick kick in 5th. He's got a 1 second penalty to serve. That's not really going to affect his position as it stands. Of course, it's going to make it harder for him to catch 0.37. But Speed Freak being 14.7 seconds back is not going to trouble him anytime soon, unless, of course, Quick Kick makes a mistake. There is Tube. He's 4.8 seconds behind Speed Freak. He has done his pitting. There is no more pitting for him to do, as Carbon Boy finally decides it's time, and into the pits he goes. Remember, they have to have finished the pit stop by the time the pit window closes in 7.5 minutes time. When the pit window is closed, you must have left the pits. You cannot go in and be still getting work done when the pit lane shuts. It's shut. You're done, my friend. So get it done. So we've only got a few more laps now before anything else really happens. And you're right, at the moment HPR in first with the Renegade livery. Budsy in second with the Renegade livery. 037. No, he's in third, but he hasn't got the Renegade livery. But that is Attack Motorsports. Quick Kick running in fourth. Speed Freak running in. I suppose if you're counting top three in terms of track position once everyone goes into the pits, you're bang on, absolutely right. Top three. HBR, Budsy and Tube all running that livery. But currently on the racetrack, they're not 1, 2, 3. They will be though. They will be. We've lost one. I was going to say we've lost one. I think we've lost 2 drivers from this race because we're down to just 10. So who else have we lost? I know we lost Buck Wild very early on for a family emergency. He was currently running in last place at the time, and he had to dive out for a family emergency and then dive back in and tell us that he had that emergency. Carbon Boy running in 9th position. He's 2.2 seconds behind Clint Freeman. He is 8.9 behind LJ. LJ is 4.8 seconds behind Tube, who has already been into the pits. 2.4 behind Speed Freak, who is 15 seconds behind Quick Kick, running in 4th. Your current top 3 is 037, Budsy 76. That was the year after I was born. I was a year old in 76. And 17 seconds clear. Excuse me, sorry about that. In the lead of this race is HBR 82. I've got to say it's a good sizable gap. The gap between Tube and HBR is 45.7 seconds. That's an interesting figure because it's about 42 seconds or thereabouts, depending on how much fuel you put in for a pit stop. HBR will need a splash. Everyone that's been in the pits has put in a splash. How much of a splash? So I'm looking at Tubes. So Tubes has been quite clever with what he's put in. He's put in more than he needs, but he's done so he has the impetus to push. He's going to need to because he was the only driver that went on the soft tyres when he started. Everybody else started on the mediums. Everyone around him is going to be on soft. It's going to be a brown town for the last few laps for him, with people chasing him down. Although those that went in really early to change out for some softs are going to have the same problem. 037 into the pits. Everyone's starting to make that decision now. This is the turning point. I'm kind of thinking, okay, how many more laps can I do? I can do 2 more. You've essentially got 2 more laps, and you have to get in those pits. In fact, you need. I would argue you haven't got time for 2 more laps because you've got to be coming out of the pits before the pit window closes. So 1 more lap, people. I don't think even HPR can do 2 more. You can certainly do 1 more lap, but 2 more laps not happening. So it's just it's HPR, Budsy, Quick Kick. They all still need to pit. Then it's Tube back in 4th place. LJ's pit. 037 has. Clint Freeman has. Carbon Boy has. Speed Freak's in there right now. Venom's been in. So it's just those top 3 still need to pit. Now here we go. Is he going 1 more? Yes, he is. HBR is staying out for 1 more lap. Budsy, what's Budsy going to do? Is Budsy going to jump in, or is Budsy going to stay out on track? He's 16.8 seconds back from HBR right now. I'm coming round those final 2 corners. Does he stay to the right-hand side? Yes, he does. Budsy diving into the pits. Quick Kick, he's next. He's 12.6 seconds back. There's Budsy in. Quick Kick. What's he going to do? Is he going to come to this right-hand side? Yes, he does. So it's just HPR. And be interesting to see if he can come out in the lead and just how far ahead he's going to be. Now consider that Tube is probably going to come through right now. Here he comes. He rounds the penultimate corner. He rounds the final corner. He's got LJ right up behind him. And I'll tell you what, it's a massive change because LJ's been into the pits. He's on those soft compound tyres and he's going racy, boy. He is half a second back from Tube. It is 45.9 seconds to HBR. So this is all changed. The pit window has just switched things around, really opened it up, really changed who's challenging for that top 3. So those that went in early, good decision. I've got to say, I think LJ, who's just making that move now, are briefly making that move, just a little bit too brave into turn 2, and briefly made that move into second. I think LJ's going to have to get around Tube and get around him quicker. He's already done the fastest lap, 1:35.6. On those soft compound tyres, mid-35s, well easy. So, HPR into the pits. We'll see now how close these guys get to them. As I say about LJ, he went in really, really early on for those soft tyres. So he's going to be struggling, big time struggling, towards the end of this stint, particularly if he's going to be chucking out mid-35s every lap. He hasn't done so far. It's low 36s, which is the pace you probably should be aiming at. But here he goes. He's going to make that move on Tubes again. He's up the inside. No, he's not. Tube holds on. They come round that final corner. Where's HPR? HPR is there. He's in the lead still. He maintains the lead of this race. He comes out. He is on those soft compound tyres. Everybody has been in. If you want to go in again, you can, but it's your last chance, and you haven't got long before you gotta get back out. So there we go. HPR 13 seconds clear. Clint Freeman diving into the pits. Is he going in for? That's actually his first stop. So he hasn't done his first stop yet. So he's coming in for his first stop now. He's cut it really, really fine, and I'm not even entirely sure he can make it back out before the pit window closes. I think he's come in a little bit too late, and that's going to be a problem, because I can tell you something now, that any moment now this is going to happen. 10 seconds remain before the pit window will close. He is just, I'll tell you what, you couldn't have cut that any finer if you tried, because boom, the pit window is closed. I'll tell you what, Clint, you planned that, mate. You absolutely planned that. And I've been saving it for a crash, but I'm going to chuck it out anyway. If you do crash, this is what you leave on the track. Carbon fibre. Now, there's not many people who will know that joke. The people that know it will be laughing. The people that don't, you've got to find it. It's on the. I think the video is on the GT Champions Discord somewhere. It's incredibly funny and really addictive to watch. Anyway, pit window is shut, and we can now have a full run through of the entire field and where we are at. Right, HPR, he came out 13 seconds clear. He's still 13 seconds clear, and he leads this race. He is in the best possible position to win here. It is absolutely all in his hands. Fastest man on the racetrack right now, LJV15. He's at a 1:35.6. He pit very, very early though. Excuse me, onto the soft compound tyres. In a move that may or may not, you know, I could be wrong. It's not unheard of me being wrong. It happens pretty much on a daily basis. But I think he's going to struggle on those tyres later. I think we're going to be looking at his tyres sometime after lap 70 and going or making such similar noises, or maybe even you know, the face that is made when you say that kind of face will be getting pulled. Tube, who was your front runner, is now, I loathe to say he's in trouble. You know, he's currently in the top 3. The problem he's got is that he is now on the medium compound tyre, and it's going to be very difficult to match the pace of the kind of mid-36s that these guys are going to be chucking out on the softs while on those medium compound tyres. He is at the moment 6.5 seconds clear of 0.37, but you can already see LJ ahead of him opening up a bit of a gap. He's got no slipstream to help him. 6.7 seconds there is 0.37 from Attack Motorsport in 4th place, and he'll be trying to chase down that top 3. Carbon Boy, him and Budsy, they've been going at it for a while now, them two. There's a little bit of a of a Budsy Carbon battle going on. It's a ding-dong battle between the Sector 1 driver and who's Budsy race for? And the Budsy driver. I don't actually know who Budsy races for. I was going to say Blackfoot. Let's just call it Blackfoot. Can't do that. There is Budsy right there. Of course, he's using the. Yeah, it's 3.2 seconds. So Budsy will be getting back involved with that battle any time soon. Budsy is using the. I think he actually might be an ISO driver, Budsy. If someone could confirm that for me, I think he might actually be an ISO driver. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. I've got a head full of lots of different things. Yeah, Kaizen, do you know what? I've called it from HPR from the outset. His consistency has been absolutely on point, and I know we've talked about this before, you and I, particularly when we co-commentated back in the Porsche Cup. That that consistency is so much more important sometimes than actual outright pace. Look, you've got to be quick when you're consistent. Absolutely, you've got to be quick when you're consistent. Kawazuri, I'm fully with you. I mean, HBR proved it during the Porsche Cup because he consistently dominated, moved up, and was still consistently dominating when he moved up. And I think that this is the one down. I mean, I really liked the qualification system in place for the World Cup. I thought it was a really smart and quite fair way of allocating the drivers. The problem is if you're a driver like HPR that isn't necessarily one lap quick, but can put some regular consistency in, and doesn't make mistakes. That's the key. It's very, very rare that you see HPR make a mistake, and I think that's the really big thing. Let's watch HPR actually, because when you have a driver like him who can go out there and you can see it was mid 37s, mid 37s, mid 37, mid 37, mid 37. There was a space of 10 laps where he did nothing but 4/10 between every single lap. Every apex he hit the same. Every braking point, it was spot on, point. When he was chasing, when he was in front, it didn't matter. He still put in those consistent lap times. And for him, he doesn't need to put in the fastest lap. Look, if you said to him, do you want the fastest lap and the extra point? Of course he's going to bite your hand off for it. He's not going to say no. But he would much rather put in these consistent laps, as you can see he's been doing. Bear with me. Nearly made a mistake. I nearly exited the room. I pressed the wrong button. How mental would that have been? There we go. So you can see there, he's just now he's done his pit, and now he's got his rhythm. He's dropping into those mid to high 36s, and he'll now sit in that pace for the rest of the race. Now LJ behind him, you can see LJ behind him. He's dropping into those 36s, but the consistency is not quite there. He's dropped out into the sort of the 37. So there is a 1 second difference between, in fact, 1.4 second difference, 1.5 second difference between his different laps there. That's all a good look. I mean, he's putting a 35.6, clearly super quick. But what he needs more than anything else is to be doing the 136.1s, 136.2s on a regular basis. That's the only way he's going to close down on HPR. So yeah, absolutely from HPR, and absolutely he should be. And I genuinely, I'm going to watch. Obviously, I will see the Division 2 race after this when I broadcast it. And I don't think there's going to be much difference between the guys in the top 3 in Division 2 after this in terms of race pace and that of HPR. And at the moment, of course, V15, and they're all putting in that kind of. I think it's going to be race pace. I think is going to be that sort of steady mid 36s. Top end of Division 1, yeah, I think we're going to see high 35s, low 36s on the soft compound tyres at race pace. But I don't think there's between these guys at the top here and the top of Division 2. I don't think there's much to separate them. Obviously, I'm saying that now, and then I'm going to go in there, Kaizen, and if you let me down, mate, we're going to have words. I'm joking. I think you and Monkey, you're going to do a great job in there for Black Flag, and the other drivers as well. I'm not saying that. We've got Newton in there. We've got there's some great drivers in Division 2. To be fair, there's some great drivers in there. Looking forward to that. Not that I haven't been looking forward to Division 3. This has been a spectacle. Okay, so we've lost 2 drivers already. There is Venom. He had to pit early on to repair some damage. He's now putting in very consistent. I gotta say, those lap times, low to mid 36s. Again, very, very consistent. But the problem is, this is the other side of consistency. It's all well and good having that consistency, but you need to be there in the first place for that to count. He's currently 1 minute behind Clint Freeman, and there are blue flags waving for him. But you can see there, he's catching, and that is, I think, that is Carbon Boy ahead of him. So he's actually catching Carbon Boy now, and so his pace is really, really good. Now, if he can get past Carbon Boy, absolutely, there's no problem for him to unlap himself. Obviously, you can't impede him. It's a bit harder when you're unlapping yourself, of course, because the impetus obviously isn't on the person there. Well, obviously, they don't defend it from you being crazy. There's no need to defend it and cost yourself any further time. But by the same token, you won't want a driver you've already had to be unlapping themselves on you. But I could very much see that gap to Clint Freeman closing down. Although Clint Freeman himself has been doing some really solid laps. So everybody now dropping into those low 36s, low to mid 36s. Speed Freak, he isn't on the low 36s, in fact low 37s, low to mid 37s. So he might find himself on the receiving end of some love from Clint Freeman when we get towards the end of this race. There's still 40 minutes, 27 odd laps remaining here. A quick kick, again, low 36s to mid 36, low to mid 36. He's the pace is very similar across the board. There's Budsy running in 6th. No slouch, our Budsy, with a 35.8 being his quickest lap. 35.9s. But there we go. That kind of demonstrates the difference. So, yeah, he's got some quick laps. He's got some sub 36s that he can chuck in. But he's splattering those with 37.1s and 36.5s. Now, wouldn't you much rather be doing 36.1, 36.1, 36.1, 36.1, 36.1 than chucking in the occasional 35.8? You know, Budsy's a good driver, man. Well, there's no two ways about it. He's a good little driver, that Budsy. Carbon Boy. Some questions from the crowd over some of his conduct. Obviously not my place to call it. I didn't see it. If I see it, I'll say it, but I didn't, so I won't. But I'm sure the stewards will look at anything he needs looking at. And if he needs a quick kick, he'll get one. I see what I did there. No, he's running well. He's about a second up from Budsy. Budsy's going to be putting the pressure on him. But he's showing a little bit more consistency than Budsy. And at the moment, the problem they've got is the Budsy is coming to lap. Now, I feel for Venom right now because Venom is showing incredible pace, and he's running in 11th. The blue flags dictate he should get out of the way of Budsy, but he is as quick as, if not a little bit quicker, than that car in front of him. And he has moved to let Budsy through, but I think that's actually hampered his race a little bit because he was hanging on with Carbon Boy quite well then, and potentially looking at unlapping himself. So a little bit unfortunate, but I suppose the rules is the rules, isn't it? Into the top 4 we go. And this is going to be the battle for 3rd. We've got Tube. Now remember how big that gap was. Now it's just 1.9 seconds. 0.37 has closed that gap down. And he is coming for you. Here's a there is Tube. listen, he showed some phenomenal pace early on those soft compound tyres, but I think you look, you have no way of knowing when you think I'm going to start on the soft compound tyres that you're literally the only one that's going to do that. You've got no way of knowing that until the race started. And I'm pretty sure I don't know if he was listening, but if he was listening and he heard that there was only one person on one particular tyre, he's thinking, fuck, that's probably me. But obviously now it's going to be difficult because since he's been on those medium tyres, look, he's been very consistent on those mediums, but he's consistently. Look at that 44 and 45. If you want to talk about consistency, that's it. 37.212 and 37.212. But no, he has been mid to low 37s, but it is mid to low 37s on those mediums, and you're not really going to go sub 37 on those medium tyres. You just haven't got the grip through those fast corners. You haven't got the traction coming out of the corners. I think so as well. It's this particular track. I think it's suicide. I think if you start, if Tubes had started on the soft compound tyres and built a gap of 30 seconds, if he was a second lap faster for the first 30 laps and had built a gap of 30 seconds, then you could probably say, okay, look, it's not too bad, and then you can try and keep the gap because the thing is, then everyone's chasing. You can kind of manage the pace, 30 seconds clear where everyone else is chasing. But if you can't do that, then you've got to start on the medium compound tyre. It's absolutely the only way you make starting on softs work is if you build a massive gap, a gap that's infinitely 30 seconds over the course of 40 laps. If you're a second lap faster, it's catchable. But it's quite a task. It's quite a task to hunt down a 30-second lead, because you've got to push that a little bit more than you probably have liked to. So I think it was suicide. It was suicide in the fact that he couldn't stay in the lead, and then HBR got through. I think it's going to be a big task. Tubes run well, but I think it's going to be a big task on these mediums to stay in that top three, possibly to stay even in the top five. Yeah. The thing is, it's the size of the gap that's important, and with how many laps remaining. If you know you're giving up a second a lap, then you need to make sure that you're 35 seconds clear at the pit stop. Simple as. But you're right. I think for the most part, the safe bet is to start on the medium compound tyre. So Carbon Boy. Carbon Boy. Carbon Boy. 6.2 seconds back from 80k 037, but that's not his current concern. Budsy is a big concern for him, and if I were Carbon Fiber, I would be very, very concerned about a very racy Budsy. The two Australians now battling it out. We're on lap 53, just 20 laps to go. How about that shit? We are 1 hour, 26 minutes and 42 seconds into this 2-hour race here at the Red Bull Ring. HBR absolutely dominant, rampant out front, but I tell you who's going for it right now, and that is this guy, Budsy. And Budsy's always good for some entertainment. He's a very, very good driver, and he's closing that gap, or he's closed that gap on Carbon Boy, and now he's asking some questions of him, and the questions is how long can you keep me at bay, son? Can you keep me at bay? Do you want to stay in fifth, or are you going to have to give it up when I catch you? Because right now, that's what he's doing. He's getting closer and closer and closer, and when you're being chased down for this long, it's less about how good you are at driving, because at this stage, I mean, any one of these drivers can do great laps around this racetrack. I think by the time you've with all the practice you've done and everything else, when you get into this stage, it's muscle memory taking you around the track. What's going to keep you ahead at this stage is composure. Can you stay composed? Do you make little errors just like that? Going a little bit too wide, the back end going a little bit squirrely, and Budsy is revving that car out, and sideways goes Carbon Boy, and he's off the racetrack.
You can't park that there, mate.
And he finds himself back now behind Budsy, just pushing the zero. That's what I said. It's all when you've got that kind of that driver behind you chasing him. It gets less about your ability to drive and all about keeping your head. And it just lost it for that split second, that millisecond, and the back end of that car just stepped out. He's had to let off the gas. He's gone on the grass, and that's allowed Budsy to build on 2.2 second lead over Carbon Boy. So Budsy up into 5th position. And Tube couldn't resist, and in the end 037 does get past and makes that move up into the top 3. Obviously that was happening while Budsy was making the moves on Carbon Boy. So next target of course for Budsy is Tube. How long can Tube hold out? He is lapping ish the low 37s. Budsy in the mid to high 36s. So we're talking about 3 to 5 tenths a lap. Let's be conservative and say 5 tenths every lap. At 5 tenths a lap, he's going to catch him in 12 laps time. There's 20 or more than 20 laps remaining. So Budsy is going to be hell for leather now, chasing down Tube. There's your race leader, maintaining that gap out front now. Doesn't need to worry. I mean, he's gone sub 36. It's just the last 2 laps, 35.8, 35.8. But it's 12.6 seconds. Excuse me. I can tell you this for nothing. LJ's done a fantastic job in second place to get to second place and to chase down HBR. He's going to be in big trouble. Huge trouble in about 20 minutes time. In 20 minutes time, his tyres are going to start telling him, I ain't doing that. You're not going around the corner that fast, mate. I'm not braking there anymore. Hell no, I'm not ready for you to put the power down yet. And it's going to, I tell you what, you're going to see, listen, he's going to have to start dropping off the pace now. I think he's going to have to resign himself to the fact he's not going to catch HBR. And if he wants to ensure that he stays ahead, stays in second ahead of 037, he's going to have to start really looking after those tyres. He is pushed so hard to try to obviously get past Tube and to try and get himself into the lead of this race. He's really going to have to look after his tyres. He's going to be in trouble. I called it at the time when he went into the pits. When he did, he went in far too early. It was way before the hour. Well, not way before, but it was before the 1 hour mark. Far too early to be going in and changing out medium tyres to softs. The softs aren't lasting. Well, look, they are lasting the hour if you're not asking anything significant of them. But at the pace these guys are driving and the loads they're putting through those tyres and what they're asking those tyres to do, you have to be smarter. And I think I don't know whether he fancied an undercut. The problem was the undercut just didn't work. It just did not work. Well, it did work. It's whether it continues to. It's going to be debatable. It's going to really be debatable. But you know, his pace is good. His pace is good at the minute. He's got the fastest lap point at the moment. He may well keep that fastest lap point. Whether the tyres hold out for him, that's another question. No, I hope to be proved wrong. I hope that at the end of the race, you guys that are watching will turn around and go, "This freaking idiot talking about." the waffle that comes out of that boy's mouth. No idea what he's talking about. But I think on this occasion I might be a little bit right. Look, it might turn out that LJ is actually the master of driving on dead tyres. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out. There's Tube, and he does not want to be picking up half-second penalties at all. He doesn't want to be picking them up. The gap is 3 seconds. Big Easy joining the room. Why joining the room? You're not signed up for this race. Get out. Because it can affect the lobby. Listen, PD, often on a broadcast I'm asking for something, and I'm not giving much back in all fairness, but this is what I want. I really think it's time to include a lock lobby option. So if you're doing something like this, which is purely for a group of people who are signed up to do something like this, that you can lock the lobby once everybody's ticked in. So once everyone's in, and before you even start qualifying, all that, there's a little button you can press that locks the lobby and stops people jumping in. It can't be that can't be that hard to program, surely. Or surely it could be that you can't, if there is a race in progress, you can't join a lobby, full stop. Race in progress. I mean, F1 2022, you join a lobby, there's a race in progress, you sit in the lobby and wait. You sit in the holding lobby and wait until the race is finished. You can spectate it, but you can't get into the race. Slightly different setup there, of course, though. Spectating doesn't affect the racetrack in any way. Quick kick. He's behind Carbon Boy, he's 2.1 seconds behind Carbon Boy. That's 31 seconds ahead of Speed Freak. Shouldn't be an issue. Behind, can he close on Carbon Boy? Last lap 36.2. Carbon Boy 36.4. So it took a little bit of time out of him, but not a significant amount as yet. Speed Freak, he's got Clint Freeman for company. Clint says, hello, I'm a coming. And those two American drivers. In fact, we've got 4 American drivers at the back there. 7, 8, 9, 10. All from the US of A. The back end. The back end going, and Clint Freeman. That's the wrong direction, my friend.
You can't park that there, mate.
Yeah, that's, you can't. So, just pushing that a little bit too hard. Cost himself a bit of time there going on to the gravel. That's not the racing line out there. Venom still showing good pace. But the problem is he has to keep moving over for cars that are lapping him. And it's really hampering any chance he's going to have of catching Clint Freeman. Although, in all honesty, if Clint Freeman keeps taking that line through that particular part of the racetrack that he just did, then maybe Venom will catch him. 2 drivers are gone. Finito did not finish. Of course, which is why we've only got the 10. There is your race leader, HPR82. And the pace is still good out front. Still nice and consistent in the low 36s, high 35s. 13.7 seconds to this guy. And I'm going to call him LJ Browntown, because in about 15 minutes time, certainly in 20 minutes time, it's going to be a bit Browntown on those tyres, I think. 0.37 running in third. Now, he now has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:35, 6:26. 10.2 seconds is the gap to LJ. At the moment, LJ's still doing very consistent mid 36s. Sorry, mid 36s. And 0.37, not too far off that similar sort of pace. A little bit quicker. If he wants to capitalise on LJ's problems in about 15, well, he won't, obviously he won't know that LJ's going to be having problems, but if he wants to capitalise on those, a little bit closer might help. Budsy. He's made that move on Tube. Tube now in the top 5, and he's about, I think, to suffer the indignity of being passed by Carbon Boy. Also, just goes to show the fundamental difference between the soft and the medium tyres here, and I think Kaizan's absolutely bang on right when he says that starting on softs is suicide, because Tube's in trouble. Carbon Boy is going to make this move. Then it's going to be Quick Kick. He's only 1.1 seconds behind Carbon Boy. Speed Freak some way back, of course. But it's going to be devastating. I'm devastated for Tube, actually, because he ran so well early on. And he did such a good job at holding on. He's going to try and make this move back on Carbon Boy, but he just doesn't have the grip. And Carbon Boy a little bit wide out there. And through comes Quick Kick as well. That's a two-man whammy there on Tube. So you can see here, we'll go on board here with, you can see, just going a little bit wide there. He makes that move. And Carbon Boy up ahead does manage to stay on the racetrack, but it's all a little bit too easy now, fighting against those medium compound tyres. And Quick Kick up into 6th and Tube into 7th. Now you can settle into this race a little bit now. He's 34 seconds ahead of Speed Freak, and should, with the last sort of 20 minutes of this race, should be able to comfortably stay ahead of him. That gap will probably get a little bit smaller. Speed Freak, actually, to be fair, Speed Freak's not lapping all that quickly, and I think Speed Freak might, if Clint Freeman can get back to those kind of 36s he was doing, the low 37s, high 36s, he might be able to close on Speed Freak. I can't see Speed Freak closing on Tube. Tube's gone. He's had okay pace, the sort of high 39s. He needs to get back to those high 39s, really, or sorry, 37s, high 37s, mid to high 37s, and stick at that. And I think he'll be all right in 7th. I don't think there's going to be any more fighting for him to do. But I don't think there's going to be any battle here to have on Tube, on Carbon Boy, for instance. Can't see it happening. And someone called Slipstream has just joined the room, but it's not the Slipstream we all know and love. The Slipstream from Black Flag, of course, who's a Division 1 reserve driver. But it's someone else from Old Guys Racing. You should know better, guys. You should know better than having your friends join the room. HBR, there is your leader. The gap now, 16 seconds. LJ just dropping off that pace a bit now. Has he realised it's time to look after those tyres? I certainly would at this stage if I were him. 9 seconds. The gap is coming down. 0.37 is starting to push it. To push it real good. Yeah, boy. 1980s, early 90s. Classic. There's Budsy. He's 3rd within his sights. I think it's certainly a possibility. We know that LJ is going to be in a bit of trouble tyre-wise. Well, at least I know that. You might not believe me. I'm not going to show you his tyres, but you might believe me. You might not believe me. Whether you do or not really doesn't matter. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here. I can say what I like. Now, I am acutely aware that because of the formation that because we started a little bit late, Division 2 might have to wait for me, man. Division 2 may have to wait for me. We've got, what, 20 minutes? Yeah, it's going to be touch and go. I think Division 2 might have to hang on. So if the Division 2 host is watching, wait for me, man. Wait for me. Don't let me go. Yeah, because I'm going to need to do some evolutions in between the races. So Budsy, I think a top 3 is a distinct on the cards possibility for Budsy, and he can revive the ISA presence in that top 3. It would be awesome if there were 2 cars in the top 3 sporting the tribute livery to Renegade's father, which is a beautiful thing that we saw in the formation now. HBR, obviously he's supporting it as a tribute, despite not being, he's not an ISO driver, but he's supporting it anyway. He's 16 seconds clear. LJ is not, but LJ is going to be in trouble soon, tyre-wise, I think. 0.37. Please ignore that. Please refuel remaining fuel thing. It's not a real thing. It's another bug. And listen, PD would not be who they are if they didn't bring out an update with a bug. It's what they do. It's kind of they fix something and they rummage around their little box of bugs and go, right, what should we put in? That one. It's kind of like a secret Santa for bugs, and see what they can throw our way. Budsy running in fourth, as we said. We think there's a possibility, definite possibility. Although LJ's just opened up that gap again. Quick kick, 8.5 seconds behind Budsy. It's gonna be a bit of a task now at this stage. What, 15-16 minutes left-ish. It's going to be a hard push. Carbon Boy, however, he's putting that challenge behind Quick Kick now. Can he continue? Can he push on and get past Quick Kick, or has Quick Kick done enough and got enough pace to start pulling away from him? As it stands in a minute, they're racing pretty darn close together. 7/10 between them. Not all done and dusted yet, but it just goes to show what a difference can be made between a pistol. You can look at how it looks out front. Well, at times these guys hitting for medium tyres. So the only runner on mediums is Tube. He's doing 30 or 37.3, 37.1. But some of these guys were doing consistently low 37s, high 36s on the medium tyres in stint one. They're being a little bit, like HBR is doing consistent low 36s now on the softs. I am lost. You're in division. Did you not get moved up to Division 5 then with the other quick driver from Division 5, or are you there on your lonesome now? So let's have a full rundown from the back going forward. We've got just 10 runners left in the lobby this evening. Venom from the United States, he's cut down that to under a minute to Clint Freeman. Really good pace in the second stint. Just a shame he was so for your first race. Well, the thing is, you will get moved up. What sort of times are you doing? I am lost out of interest on the medium compound tyres. Let's Clint Freeman. He's in 9th place, 7.9 behind Speed Freak, and yeah, I think that's going to be a bit of a task now with 15 minutes remaining to catch him. He's going to need to be doing minimum half a second lap quicker, probably more than that to catch. 31 seconds back, Speed Freak to Tube. That's where Tube's going to stay back in 7th place. It's a visual representation of Kaizan's comment that starting on softs in this format is suicide. Absolutely. As you're doing 37.2s on the mediums. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, if you're doing that consistently, yeah, you're going to be pretty darn quick in Division 6. And I think you'll find yourself in a different division come next week, my friend. Come next week. Certainly we need to move people up because there are gaps here that were not filled. Disappointingly. Carbon Boy, he's 7.6 seconds, or Carbon Fiber. Seriously, I can't. Carbon Fiber is running in 6th. He is 1.2 seconds behind Quick Kick. Quick Kick just having that little bit of impetus to pull away from him. 7.3 up to Budsy. Budsy's really closed that gap on 0.37. 3.1 seconds. I said it. I called it that I didn't think the top 3 was out of the question for Budsy. I think this ISO driver is gonna muscle his way into that top 3. And I think LJ and 037 are going to need to start worrying. Now, I've got to say, I said that LJ was going to be squeaky bum time, but actually for some reason, now his tyres were in a really bad way some time ago. He was well past the halfway point, long before he had halfway left. But it seems that he's just dropped off that pace a little bit, and it's been enough to kind of arrest the slide on those tyres. And I think I might have to eat my words and say he's going to be all right. So I take back what I said. It looks like he might. I think the last couple of laps are still going to be a bit ropey, but I think he might be all right. 037, he can still push, but he's got 11 seconds on LJ. His concern is going to be if he can keep Budsy at bay, because Budsy is on a charge. Talking of on a charge, absolute dominant display from HBR. He chased down Tube. I mean, Tube was Tube shot off like a rabbit up the road on those soft compound tyres early on, and got himself a nice gap of 2 seconds, and led for some time. And then HBR just went challenge accepted, and boom, made the move on those medium tyres, picked his point, got up into the lead of this race, and hasn't looked back since. Since HBR took the lead of this race, including through the pit window, he has not lost that position. He went into the pits in the lead, he came out of the pits in the lead of this race, and bar something catastrophic, so a wheel failure, and I'm assuming it's a wheel controller failure, a PlayStation exploding, the internet going down, sliding off his chair, and or of course just crashing the car. He's going to win this race, and deservedly so. LJV15, maybe not as squeaky bum as I thought. He's just stopped taking the kind of chunks out of those tyres he was taking in the early part of the stint. I still insist that he pit too early. I think he could have hung on a few more laps and just not left it quite so fine on those soft compound tyres. 037, I thought he might benefit from LJV15, even if LJ's tyres really do go off. It's going to take something catastrophic to happen for 037 to catch him. Just 10 minutes of this race remaining. We're on lap 68. So what are we looking at? 8 laps-ish, 6 laps-ish. I don't know. Yeah, probably got 6 laps. Budsy. Now, his last lap was a 37.1. Half a second. Consistently taking out about half a second a lap out of 0.37. If there's 6 laps remaining, until 6, he's going to need 5 of them to catch and the last lap to pass. So, big job ahead for Budsy. And with a 1 second penalty, that has just made that job significantly harder. So he's lost time picking up a penalty, and now with that penalty as well, cost himself significant time. I think that's just put the task just beyond him. It needs to be something very special to the end now if he's going to make that move. Quick Kick still got Carbon Boy for company. He had built himself a little bit of a comfort buffer, but not anymore, because Carbon Boy said, nope, I'm not having this. I want some of that Quick Kick guy, and here I'm coming to get it. And he's closing that gap 0.3 of a second, heading down towards turn 3. And I don't want to hear anything about it. It's not turn 3, it's turn 4, it's turn 3, idiot. Here we go, into the braking zone. He's having a little look up the inside. Certainly thought about it. Changed his mind last minute. Obviously it wasn't a wise idea to make that move when he did, but he's hanging in there. His Quick Kick struggling a little bit on his tyres. Well, tyres look fine to me. I tell you what though, Carbonboy's got a little bit more fuel on board. I'm not suggesting that Quick Kick's going to run out. Quick Kick's doing all right, but you know, when you're on your last few laps, you want to make sure you've got enough to be able to push. And Carbon Boy's just got that a little bit more to push with right now. So here we go, penultimate corner. Good exit out of here, good exit out of the next corner, and we could see Carbon Boy getting a run up towards turn 1. And here we go. That was a good exit for Carbon Boy. He is half a second behind and closing with that slipstream. Not quite enough to head up the hill, but into the braking zone they go. Another opportunity. Good exit here again. That was a brilliant exit. He's actually had to go a little bit wide to prevent going into the back of Quick Kick, and that's probably been enough to save Quick Kick's bacon that time round. But Carbon Boy. Was just a little bit quicker, getting on the power out of turn 1, and it's really starting to put some pressure on Quick Kick. But Quick Kick holding that pressure very well. There's Tube in 7th. He's holding firm in 7th now. Just those medium tyres just didn't have the pace to match his first stint, and he's had to resign himself to losing quite a lot of places, to be fair, and dropping down to 7th. But overall, good race. You can't complain with that. Clint Freeman, 36 seconds back from Tube. He's not going to make that gap up, but he's not going to get cut equally. Again, without a problem, he's not going to get caught by Speed 3. 37 seconds, and then 11 seconds back to Venom. There's your leader, 27 seconds clear. He is. We'll come and see him again on the last lap of the race. 5 minutes, 30 seconds remaining of this race. V15. Tyres getting to the stage now where you're starting to go, but he's still just okay. He's 8.2 seconds clear of 0.37. That penalty Buds he picked up has just given that little bit of impetus to 0.37 and that little bit of a safety cushion. And I might have to eat my words about him getting into the top 3. I think now he's got too much of a task to do to get that done. 8.9 seconds to go back to Carbon Boy. He's got that move done on Quick Kick, but Quick Kick coming back at him. Can Quick Kick get the move done back on him? He's looking any way through. He's tucked right in behind him. He's practically in the boot of that McCann. These two are going to go at it till the very end. Here comes Quick Kick, and he's a lot closer to Carbon Boy than Carbon Boy was to him at this stage. Looks up the inside, makes that move, and Quick Kick back into 5th position. That was a really good overtake. Can he hang on? Let's watch the overtake again, and then we'll come back if we need to see. Here we go. You can see great move there, and he's tucked in behind the other McGann there. Gets that inside line. Make sure he holds that inside line. Brilliant little move to get himself back into that 5th place. But I'll tell you what, Carbon Boy's not going to give this up any way, shape or form. And here they go. I think we're looking at what? 2, maybe 3 laps more? Yeah, 3 laps more. So there we go. Quick Kick holds on at the moment briefly from Carbon Boy, but Carbon Boy a little bit wobbly coming out of turn 1. Staying with him though, 3/10. That's all there is between them. Nothing separating these two cars. This is the view from the front of Carbon Boy's car. This is what you can see. You can just see the great exit up the inside there. A little bit of rub in his racing maybe. Slightly better run from Quick Kick, but Carbon Boy going up the inside there and certainly having a little looky-see. Quick Kick doing a good job actually of keeping that inside line, but didn't close it off then, and almost left that door open for Carbon Boy. Are these two going to push so hard? I'll tell you what could happen here. These two could push so hard that they both go off, and that could give Tube a happy, joy time. And they're both battling as they go past that back marker. And that was actually really clever from the back marker to get out of the way and let these two continue to battle. But it is on like Donkey Kong. They are fighting like two rutting stags over a doe to breed with. Absolutely battling it out. And I'll tell you what, to the victor, the spoils right now. They will have the sweat pouring off them after this battle. I tell you that. I tell thee that. Carbon Boy gets a great run out of final turn. Can he get the move done into turn one? Pulls out of the slipstream. He's going to have that inside line. Side by side they go. Into the lead he goes. Into the braking zone. And Carbon Boy back up into 5th place. Quick Kick straight back at him. They are side by side. This is going on right until the very, very end. The Carbon Boy holding the inside line though, up towards turn 2. Quick Kick is going to have to concede. Can he get the old switcheroo going? He does get that switcheroo going. Doesn't get quite the exit he needs. Tucked in behind again. This battle is raging on. And here we go. This time Carbon Boy holding that inside line. Does not want Quick Kick to get any shot at that. And they're both going at it. Again, chance for the switcheroo. Not on. But they're still battling this out. And we cannot go anywhere else right now because this is where all of the action is. And I really want to see HBR cross the line. But I wouldn't be doing these guys justice if we left this battle unwatched until the very, very end. So I'm very sorry, HBR. We might have to replay you crossing the line if this carries on as it's going. So this is the penultimate lap of the race. It is HBR leads from LJV15. 0.37 rounds out that top 3. Budsy is in 4th place. He's not going to catch 0.37. But here's the battle for 5th and 6th. Carbon Boy and Quick Kick. And Carbon Boy's just pulled out a little bit of a buffer. A little bit of a cushion that just allows him to stay ahead. This is the final lap of the race. Can Carbon Boy stay ahead? And I think it's safe enough just to have a look up the road. Budsy 3.2 behind 0.37. 7 seconds to LJV 15. But there, an absolute dominant display from beginning to end. He absolutely owned this racetrack today, HBR. And in all honesty, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, no business in Division 3. This is a Division 2, possibly even low-end Division 1 driver right here. What a race from him. HBR takes the win, thoroughly deserved. LJV 15. He will come home. He's 30 seconds back. And I tell you what, for the talent of that race, he did an absolutely stand-up job keeping those tyres within range because genuinely, there's no difference now between his tyres and 0.37s. There was a significant amount of difference 10, 15 laps ago, I can tell you that. So did a really good job towards the end, just looking after them. He comes home in 2nd and rounding out the top 3, just come around that final corner now, 0.37 from Attack Motorsports. Budsy will come home in 4th place. 5th will be Carbon Boy, and that great battle with Quick Kick though will go down in memory as being a high point of this particular race. There's Carbon Boy, there's Quick Kick, and Tube, despite his heroics in the beginning of the race, certainly in the first stint, he brought a knife to a gunfight today, starting on those soft compound tyres and just asking for trouble in the second half of this race. And Tubes comes home in 7th. 8th for Clint Freeman, 9th for Venom. Did finally get off the back of the pack. And Speed Freak will come home in 10th place. Looks like he's run out of fuel. So Speed Freak ran out of fuel, and that just allowed Venom to nick 9th place finally. What a race. What a race. Well done, Leo. 0.37, your name is Leo, apparently. Great race. Well done. Well done to the entire top 3. It was absolutely phenomenal. But HBR is your winner today. There we go. Awesomeness. There we go. So there is the full classified rundown is as follows. HPR in the Renault Megane. They're all in the Renault Megane. Stupid thing to say. HPR from LJ15 from ATK037, or Leo, as Streeter Tom has told me. Budsy in 4th, Carbon Boy in 5th, holding off that challenge for a quick kick. 037 gets the fastest lap with a 35.626. Tubes in 7th, Clint Freeman in 8th position. Venom comes home in 9th, Speed Freak in 10th. Race Tech was DNF, and Buck Wild also a very, very early DNF in this race. Yeah, very early. Within the first sort of 15-20 minutes, I think we lost him. So there we go. How's about that then? We're all done. We're all done. We have got very, very little time till the start of Division 2. I just don't look. I would love to do interviews after every single. I just don't have the time. I have to go and do toilet and things before the next race starts in just 10 minutes. So listen, I'm going to speak to Chris, and I think you guys should do, and ask if we can make the gap a little bit bigger, maybe, just to allow time to do interviews, and so I've got time for toilet and things. I'm an old man. I need to wheel a lot. It's one of those things. There's nothing we can do to change that. So, there we go. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Wrong button, completely. Yeah, we're not going to do those today. Thank you very, very much for sitting those 2 hours of awesomeness with me. This has been the GT Champions World Cup Season 5, round number 3 at the Red Bull Ring in the McGann GT4. Congratulations to our top 3. HBR led the way, and then LV version 15, whatever his name was, I forgot it, finishes in 2nd, and Leo came in 3rd. And yeah, what a race from HBR. That was phenomenal. Move him up. Move him up. Move him up. Move him up. Right, I've been umpire. This has been Black Flag Racing TV. It has been emotional.